we have. So comparison operators I given you in the last session. Next, one more is logical operators. Usually logical operators, you know, double ampersand, that is logical and double pipe, this is logical or, and exclamation, this is logical not. These are the basic operations, you know. Technically, the purpose, you know, we can concatenate, so that means condition. So we have condition and the second condition. If both conditions are true, so it will return true when both conditions true. That is the basic thing, you know already, right? And another, we have condition and or. So another condition we are defining here. That means it is true when any one condition true. True. That's also basically we know, right? And not is negation. That means, for example, x is equal to true and y is equal to not x. This indicates that y is equal to false and x equal to true. Not true. That is the negation. These are all the general logical operators. Usually we know all these operators. Another important you need to have an idea is about bitwise operators. Bitwise operators. Technically, so many bitwise operators are there. Bitwise operators are related to binary conversions. If you already aware of bitwise operators, that's good and great. If not, no problem. Whenever situation comes about using those, I will explain you if you are not having an idea. Because generally in programming, we have JavaScript and general programming people all are aware of bitwise operators, the same bitwise operators here. Binary conversions are we need to understand in order to deal with these operators. So if you are aware of that, that's good. Otherwise, no problem. We can later discuss when situation comes for bitwise operators. We have bitwise operators like AND. This is AND. And this is OR. So this is OR and this is NOT. And we have caret. This is XOR. So, and this is zero fill left shift, and signed right shift. And we have zero fill right shift. So this is zero fill right shift. These are bitwise operators. You are aware of these bitwise operators, then it's good. Otherwise, no problem. Later when situation comes, we will discuss about them, how to utilize according to the requirements, right? So because for that you need to understand JavaScript bitwise operators. First you need to learn conversions of binary. Then you can understand these bitwise operators. Right? So these are all the general operators which you have to use and borrow from JavaScript library. So TypeScript uses all the JavaScript operators as it is. Now what we need to know additionally is about the special operators. Special operators. What are the various special operators we need to know and how to use these special operators? Technically, special operators, so many important special operators are there. These we will learn one by one. First one is ternary operator. Ternary operator, many people know about this. Ternary operator is condition. Ternary operator means, so it is question mark colon, right? Question mark colon, that is the ternary operator. That means it uses a condition, and so question mark So we have statement if true, if true, and colon statement if false, if false. That is the ternary operator. Technically, that is the ternary operator. So it is same like if and else, simple if and else condition. So already you might have worked with ternary operators, you know ternary operator, right? Condition, statement if true, statement if false. That's simple. So general example for this ternary operator, I'm just adding here let in stock. In stock is a boolean, so that means it will have true or false. And if we are writing if condition, instead of that console.log, I'm writing a condition. So in stock is equal to true. If it is equal to true, question mark, we should say available, 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 and colon, otherwise out of stock, out of stock. That is the basic thing we need to learn, means we need to know, right? This is simple, like a simple if. So if condition true, what should happen? False, what should happen? So if it is true, then it says available. If it is false, then it says out of stock, right? That is a simple ternary operator. So we are using a simple if. So tsc object.ts, demo.ts, and node demo.js. It will get you that available. And if so, the value is false. If the value is false, then it should obviously return. If it is false, then obviously it should return here. So I will compile this, and we are defining that false. If it is false, then let's run this and see, and it should say out of stock, out of stock. It shows an error because error is nothing but it is just a warn point to tell us that. So when you are using a condition, so better define. So always compare with the true, whatever the value is there. So that means first compare with the value that is there, because we don't have any other object here. That's the reason it says that if you are having a false, then better compare with false. If you are having a true, better compare with true. We don't need that. We can follow any technique. So these type of errors are quite common because, so TypeScript, we have installed a TypeScript TS-lint. This will follow some traditions, and according to the traditions, if you are not writing programming, it will give you errors and warnings. But as a developer, we know that at this instance, I don't need to follow that tradition. Then we can forcibly compile and run and see the output. Okay. So later we will able to resolve all these issues because we will keep in a good coding structure. Then we will not get all these issues, right? Initially, individually, while dealing with them, such errors, warnings will come. You forcibly compile, it will work, no problem, right? That is the basic approach you need to know, right? So here, the key concept is when you are working with ternary operator, it is simple like a if and else statement, right? This is a simple example. So this is a simple example, right? So how to handle this in various occasions, we will see them. We will work with them, right? Next, important in special operators, we have another operator that is type of. So it is a special operator used to know the data type, know the data type of value stored in any memory reference, specific memory reference. In any specific memory reference, what type of value is stored. We can know that by using type of. This is very important because in future, many times we have to work with the data which we don't know. That means data comes from some other sources. When data comes from other sources, so in the front end, we need to deal with the data without knowing its structure. Many times we have to deal with that. Then we need to first understand what type of data is coming. Then we can deal with it. To do that, generally we have this concept, so type of. Actually, there is a very big concept to understand. Technically, I think you people, many of you know, when you learnt about technologies like object-oriented programming, Java, .NET, C++, in object-oriented programming, suppose a class is given to you, and if you are asked that tell me the members of this class, what are the members of this class? So to know what members are present in a class, we use a technique. To know the information about the class, what properties, what methods are present in that class. What that technique is called, do you have any idea? That technique is called as a reflection. You know this, huh? That technique is called reflection. Have you learned reflection? Right? So generally in every object-oriented programming, you will have the concept of reflection. Every object-oriented programming, in every OOP language, we have reflection. C++ have reflection. So Java have reflection. .NET have reflection. OOP language means it will have the concept of reflection. Reflection is used for understanding the metadata of your class. Sure, the data about your class. So that is another point which you can use in TypeScript also. In TypeScript object-oriented programming, I will show you that how these techniques are used when we learn about the class concept. But important is anyone who knows about object-oriented programming, he knows this is called reflection. It is there everywhere. Reflection is there everywhere. So the concept is we need to know about the component that we are dealing with. We need to understand and know about the component we are dealing with. Because many times we need to deal with the data which we haven't designed. In that case, so we need to understand, then we can use this type of. See what happens actually. LET. So product is any type. And here I am defining as an object. It have name. So this is some Samsung TV like this. Okay, price. And we have some value. And in stock. So we have some true like this. So here we want to know the type of value. Then console.log. So we are using here a simple message. Name is. So what type? We can do that by using type of. These all are operators. Remember, type of is called as an operator. Technically, we call it as an operator. Type of is an operator. This operator returns. It returns. So whether means it returns which data type that current value is. So type of product dot name. And in the next line, so here price is, and I will say type of product dot price, the variable or the reference. In the next line, so in stock is, we have to define type of product dot in stock, product dot in stock. So now we need to deal with this. So that means now once I run this, you can see that it can return the data type. That means it will tell the data type. So name is a string, price is number, in stock is boolean. The advantage is once you know the type, you can even restrict the type. That means if any another type of data is coming, we can prevent that if we know the type. And based on the type, we can handle various interactions, which you will see in different examples later. So, but here the key point about this type of operator, to understand the type of value, the data type of value stored in any specific memory reference. So simply we have to define in this way. So type of and the reference name. So it will return whether it is a number or it is a string and all. Here some important points are there. So generally in interviews, what kind of questions asked related to this? Suppose I said some shipped to, and here I am defining, so Delhi, so I am defining some Hyderabad like this. Now, if I am trying to return the type, that means shipped to is I am defining type of product dot shipped to. Now what will be the type of shipped to? Can you tell me? What will be the type of shipped to? Usually, if you know generally about JavaScript, actually, any complex type is returned as an object, right? In JavaScript based environments, any complex type is returned as an object, not a string, or because it is an array. Now array is treated as an object. So the complex type of data will be returning as object, That means shipped to will be an object. So complex type. So for example, if I define total, so now what it will return? Total is, I want to know about the total type of product dot total. What do you think it will return? Total, what it will return? What it is going to return total? You have to observe this syntax. I haven't written any number to return. There is no functionality there. If there is no functionality, then actually remember, function is itself is a type. Complex data is object. Function is not data, function is functionality. I hope you understood the difference between data and functionality, right? Complex data is object and function is functionality. That means obviously it will return. The type of this will be function. It is not object. The type of total is a function type. It is a function type. right? It is not object, because object is only when it is having data, and that data is complex. When data is complex, then it will be treated as object. So that means now it is going to return, it is going to return, right? So it is going to return what it is handling here. So let's run this and see. That means the data type, what is the data type? And it is going to return the type. Here you see total is undefined. So because actually, so here we define total as a function, and the product here dot total I written as a function, actually function. So this is just the reference name we need to define. The reference name we are defining here. The reference name, it will return as a function. It is a function. If I write like a method open base cross base, it will try to return its value. We want to return just its type. So total is a function type. 1 second. Right. Right. So here, right. Right. Now important is in the object, technically any complex data is defined and referred, it will be treated as object, right? Configured as an object, right? Now let's see the result for this. Suppose I am configuring this as MFD, and here I defined as a new date. What will be the type for this MFD? What do you think it will return? MFD is what is the type of MFD? Product.mfd. what will be the type returned for this? Obviously, it will be of the type what? It will be of type object, right? So any data, then it is going to return it is going to return that object, right? Data, it is going to return as object. So when you are dealing with the data, it will be defined as object, right? So hope everyone is clear with this, right? So technically, type of, there is no confusion when it will return object, when it will return function, when it will return number and all, right? The complex types are always returned. The complex types are always returned with object. So this is a simple example for this type of operator. So I will copy this, and this is an example. This is an example for type of. Example of type of, right? So this is one simple, and output, I will just give the output also. So this is what actually it is going to return. That means name is string. So price, total, manufactured, all this. So in order to understand the type, we have to use this, right? Next important is we need to know about another important operator, that is instance of operator. Instance of operator. Technically, instance of operator, right? Technically, instance of operator is used to identify whether the current is derived from a specific class or not. That means, so it is a Boolean. It is a Boolean operator. Actually, it is a Boolean operator. It verifies whether the object. It verifies whether the object is instance, whether the object is derived. You can simply say is derived from specific class. It is a Boolean operator. So which verifies whether the object is derived from a specific class, right? If it is, then it will return true. If not, it will return false. That means we can know from which class that object derived. So it will not return class name. It will verify the class. It is going to verify the class. Let's see how it happens, how it can handle and verify the class. So technically here, so I will create an example. Suppose we are having, later we will learn about class and what are the object-oriented concepts. Generally, I am writing class employee. So just some employee. And here we are defining let, some emp is new employee. Later we will discuss about how to create objects, how do we configure the objects and all. Detailedly we will see that. Initially, so this emp is using the memory of employee class. That means it is of employee object. Similarly, let, so product is equal to new array. It is derived from array. Now, here we can verify whether that particular object is derived from that class or not. Suppose I am writing here console.log. So here we are defining emp. So this is the object. Emp is instance of product, is instance of array. This is what I am defining. emp is instance of array. I want to know its answer. Then I'm just defining. So here we have to write the syntax in this way. That means we need to define the syntax in this way. Object name space instance of, and we have to define the class name. We have to configure in this way. It is going to return true or false based on how it works. So we need to understand how it works, true or false. That means, let's see. Suppose we are defining like this. That means emp instance of array. I am writing like this. Obviously, it is not an instance of array. Then it should return false. Similarly, in the next line, we are defining the emp instance of employee. So that means we are configuring. So again, a statement like this: emp instance of employee class. Then it will verify, is it an object of employee? Is it an object of array? And based on that, it is going to return us a Boolean value, that is true or false. Then obviously the result will be like this: emp is instance of array. So no, it is not, false. And emp instance of employee, yes, it is instance of employee, then it is true. So it will verify whether that object is derived from the same or not. And it will return true or false. So that is Boolean function. This is a Boolean operator which returns true or false. For example, suppose here product is array. That means in the next line, I am defining. So product is a product instance of some value. Here I am defining product instance of product instance of, I given as array. We are finding product instance of array. So then I am defining, that is here product is an object, product instance of, so array, I am defining this. Then usually product instance of array, it should return true. And for example, now can you tell me, if I say suppose product instance of object, and I will write like this: product instance of object, object. So the O uppercase, that is the object, instance of object. What do you say? Will it return true or false? Product instance of object, will it return true or false? So usually product instance of object, it should return true. Am I right? Because any complex type is treated as an object. Am I right? Every complex type will be treated as an object, right? So usually what happens now here when we are compiling this, and it should return those details. So that means product instance of object, that means it is true. It configures that. So technically instance of is to verify whether it is derived from that particular or not. It is derived from particular or not, and return the value, right? So technically that is what actually example. This is an example. So this is technically an example, right? So, and the output for this, So output for this here is, this is the basic output. So how it handles, right? So this is the general output for this, how it returns the values. So we will keep this as here. We will keep this here. Okay. And the output will be in this way. Fine. That is what actually instance of. So we have type of, another one instance of. These are the special operators that we have. Next important is we need to understand about how do we use another operator, that is delete operator. Technically, delete operator, it is a special operator. Special operator. It is a special operator. Use it to. It is a special operator. Use it to remove any property from an object. It is a special operator used to remove any property from an object. You can remove any property from an object. But important is, so you cannot remove read-only properties. How to design read-only properties, you are going to learn in object-oriented programming. But while learning about operators, you should know that some properties are defined as read-only. So these read-only properties you cannot remove. So majority built-in properties are present, means built-in objects are there. Date object, array object, math object, these are built-in objects, means they are provided with the library. And those objects are having some properties which you cannot remove. Those properties cannot be removed. So remove any property from an object, but make sure that it is not a reserved object, and make sure that it is not having read-only attribute. Technically, that is how we need to manage, right? So operators, when we are dealing with the operators, so one more important is this delete. Let's see that. So I am creating an product, and it is an any type, and in that we have name, and we have some price, and this is the price. And usually we can print these two details. So console.log, I am printing name is equal to name, product.name. So name is a property, and in the next line we have a price is equal to product.price. So product.price. Okay, product.price. So we are printing this. Now important here is we are configuring and defining this. Now let's run this. As of now, both are available. It will print. That means we have name and we have price. I want to delete this price property because many times when you are working with data, several fields are unnecessary. Of course, we can select only fields that we want, or later in future, while working with it dynamically, we need to remove the unnecessary fields for that particular situation. Now remember, at that particular moment, so now don't treat these as database. Some people are thinking that these are like database. I delete means it is deleted permanently from that array. Right? Some people think that this is like database. Suppose I deleted means permanently gone. No, at that particular state it is removed, but it is not having any effect permanently on that particular object. In the next instance, it is available. So that means, for example, I say delete, and here I am defining product.price. That means it will delete that price property. It is deleting the price property. That means at this particular instance, it is at this particular instance. At this particular instance, this is deleting that property. At this particular instance, it is deleting the property. That means it is not permanently gone for this particular state. It is deleted. In the next state, this is not database. When I reset my program, again it will be there now. Obviously it will be there. It is not database that you deleted, it is gone now. That means you are just using hard-coded data, which will not dynamically have any effect until or unless we deal with manually. So this is just at that particular state, it will delete. It will delete, right? It will delete. That means now price is gone. There is no price. You are reading the price. You are reading the price. That means now after deleting, when you try to read the price, then obviously it should have defined, right? Obviously it should define undefined. It should return undefined because there is no price at all. If there is no value in that particular price, it will return as undefined. It will return undefined, right? Then what we do here, so when I try to run this, now price is removed, then usually it will return undefined. It will return undefined. There is no price. There is no price. Now what we need to do is we can write a condition. If product.price is equal to undefined, that means it is gone, it's not there, then print only name, then console.log, we can print just name is equal to, so product.name, we can just print that product.name. Else it should print the name and price. Else it should print the name and price. So that we are configuring here. I'm compiling this and running this. And you can see, so it is going to print only name. If I'm commenting this delete, that means I'm not deleting price. That means now price is again available. And I'm printing that. When I'm printing that, so compile and run this. And you can see that, so the price is there. The price is printed. So we can delete any property so that we can temporarily remove it because we don't need to use it in various occasions. Then we can manage this delete operator. Delete operator. So delete is a special operator and it is used to delete the properties from an object. So we have to just use the syntax delete and object name dot property, the property that you want to remove. So example is this. This is an example for delete. Now very important, suppose if I write like this, delete math.py. If I write like this, this is invalid. Why it is invalid? Because math is an object, pi is a property of that object, but you cannot delete them. Because these are built-in objects provided by library, you can't disturb them. You can just manage this delete operator on user-defined objects. You created your own objects. On those objects, you have your own properties. You can use this operator on those properties. You cannot do this on the reserved properties and the reserved library-related objects. That is what actually we discussed in the definition. That means it is invalid. It is invalid, right? That means you cannot delete because these are all marked as read-only actually. So delete is a special operator which is used for deleting any particular property from a class, particular property for a class, right? Next important, we need to understand about another important we need to understand about how to use an in operator. In operator. Technically, in it is a special operator. It is a special operator. It is a special operator. Technically, in is a special operator. And the purpose of this special operator, it is a special operator used to verify. So whether, used to verify whether the given property property is a member of specified object, and very important, it returns boolean, true or false, it returns boolean true or false. So in operator, it is a special operator used to verify whether the given property is a member of specified object, and it returns true or false. That means it is used to check whether this property is there or not. Actually, we deleted. After deleting, we are verifying is there any value available for this price by using undefined. But the good option is to verify by using the correct point, that how you can handle it. How that's see. That means how do we verify that? Actually, to know whether that property is available or not, we can use the operator like this. Property name, property is price. In property in, price in, the object is product. That's how we define. That means if there is price property in the product object, then if it is there, then it will print. Otherwise, it should not print, right? That is the approach, true or false. If there is price in product, then it should print name and price. Otherwise, it should print only name. First, I will show you a general point, what it returns actually. So here I am writing console.log, and here I am defining price in product. In is an operator. This in operator will verify whether the price is a member of this particular object or not. And it will return boolean true or false. You can see it returns true. That means price is a member. Now I am deleting that price. Delete product dot price. We are deleting that price property. And after deleting the price property, we are compiling and running this. That means usually it should return false, because now no longer price is there. We deleted it. After that, we are checking that. That means there is no price for that particular state. So it is used to verify whether there is a property available by that name, and it returns boolean true or false. Based on that, we can write the conditions. That means if it is there, that means here we are using, it is going to return true or false. That means if price in product, then console.log, we are printing name. So we are printing name. So we are printing the name. That means product.name. And we are printing the price. So that is product.price. We are directly defining this name and price. Else we are configuring. So console.log, we are defining only name. So we are printing only name. That is product.name. We are not printing the other details. So this is the basic approach we have defined here. That means in operator will verify is there is price or not. In operator will verify is there price or not. And based on that, it will print the details. Because we deleted, it is not there. Suppose I comment this delete. That means now price is there. Then if price is there, then it should print both the details. That is the name and the price. This is the better way to verify whether there is a property or not. So we can verify whether there is a property by that particular name or not by using this in operator. Syntactically, how you define that? So syntactically, we have to define the property name in quotes, and in object name, we have to define the object name. property name and the object name. And example, this is an example. So this is an example for in operator, how we can handle the in operator. So to verify the data type, we have type of. To know from which class it is derived, we have instance of. To verify, to delete any property, we have delete. To verify whether there is a property or not, in. And we have another operator. So of operator. It is a special operator. It is a special operator used to access. It is a special operator used to access the values from a collection. The values from a collection using any iterator. That means it is a special operator used to access the values from a collection using any iterator. Iterator means of operator will not work directly. So you cannot use of operator just like how you used a type of, instance of, and in. Of operator can be used only over iteration. So over iteration, it can read the values from a collection and return those values. That means in an iteration, to identify the values present in a collection, we have to use of. Actually, of operator is a Boolean operator. What actually it does is, it will first verify, is there any particular value available to read or not. If there any value available to read, it will continue to read. It will return that. After that, it will proceed to next. So it is going to read over iteration. Individually, we cannot use them. We have to use with the combination of iterators. That means syntactically, we need to define as for var item of collection. We have to define this. This operator is very commonly used in our Angular. In Angular, whenever we want to read the data from any complex location, then this is very commonly used. Technically, this is the common approach how we can use. Right? That means the point is, later when you are dealing with operators and working with large amount of data, in order to read the values directly, we don't need any looping controls. Instead of looping controls, we use these iterators, which are good. At UI level, in the interface in Angular, these are very commonly used. You will see that when we deal with Angular, you will see while reading the data, this is the best option available for us. So suppose here we are having a collection. LET products is a string type array, and it is having some collection like TV, like mobile, something like this, like shoe. And we want to read the values. So for var product of collection is products. So then of operator is used to verify and read every property from that particular, every value from this collection. That means of is first looking into this collection. It will verify, is there anything to read? If anything is there to read, then it will go and read and store in this reference. After storing, it will proceed to next. So then it will read the second one. If there is no value to read, then this will simply stop. That means finally the result will be in product, console.log. I am printing that product. That means it is going to print that product, print the product. So that is how technically it is going to return the values of a collection. We have to use it over an iteration, then it can read the values and display. Only values, any type of value present in that array can be returned. Any type of value present in the array can be returned. Even if it is a complex object type data is present inside it. That means suppose let data, it is any type array, and here we are having name like this, and we are having price. This is object, and array of objects, we have name, so mobile, and we have price and some price. So important here is, so when we are looping and performing iteration over this for var item of data is the collection, and I am printing that console.log that item. And very important, this time every object is treated as an item, and you can see that that entire object will be returned. So that means it is having the array values are returned. On that value, you can perform various other operations that we already saw in filter concept and others we discussed about. Technically, off is a special operator, and off operator is used to return the values present in a collection over an iteration. This is example of off operator. These are all special operators. Another important operator is void. Void is a special operator. Technically, what is the purpose of this void? How actually the void is used? So generally void is a special operator here. So we use it as an operator because operator's intention is to return a value. Now void is a special operator used to designate any functionality, that will not return a value for that specific instance. Will not return any value for that specific instance. So that means for that specific state. So that means state. I will tell you that. I will explain this point here. So void is a special operator used to designate any functionality that will not return a value. For that specific state. Actually, for example, suppose in general point I will show you here. Later you are going to use that in functions. In functions I will tell you how to use them. Return types, voids and all, right? So here I'm just showing you one simple point. Suppose I'm writing here an anchor, home, right? Home. Now, if I write like this, is it valid link? It is a hyperlink. Is it a valid link? Is it a valid link? It is not a valid link because it is not having any href, right? Okay. That means our testing team will report it as a problem because the link is not defined with any reference. Am I right? Yes. Then important is here I will write href empty. Is it valid? Is it valid? This is also not valid. Why it is not valid? Because what do you mean by double quotes? It is empty. Means this link is working. This link is working, but it is not doing anything. Am I right? It is working, but it is not doing anything. That means on click, some action is performed, but that action is unknown. So this is the problem. Suppose if I use hash, is it valid? Is it valid? If I use hash, is it valid? This is also not valid. This is also not valid because what does hash means? Hash means you are trying to refer an ID, am I right? And you are not mentioning any ID. Without mentioning ID, you just write hash, that is also invalid. Then generally in real world projects, we designed a link, but implementation of that link is not our responsibility. Then we need to keep this link in such a way that it is defined, but it is not returning anything. Understood? It is defined, but it is not returning anything, which should be later implemented. Am I right? Which should be later implemented, so that my testing team will not report this issue. Then what we do is we can make this as JavaScript, and colon, we can configure this as void. That means this indicates that we designed a link with an intention to not to return anything. Understood? JavaScript defines a functionality, and the functionality is void. Technically void, right? Void. That means generally, in general, you know that this void is a general English term, right? If I am talking to any person and I am saying that I am talking for so long and you are void and null, that means we can say that you are void and null. What does that mean? I am talking to him so much, from so much time I am talking to him, and he is void and null. Void means there is no response from him, am I right? He is not returning anything, nothing. That is what generally we call as void, right? So technically here the point is, generally many people, what they think is void will not return any value, am I right? Right? Which I will prove you wrong every time. That is not actually the meaning of void actually. That means it is not like it is not returning any value. Now see what I am doing here. I am writing in the void function. In the void function, I am writing window.document dot body dot style dot background color background color is equal to, suppose I said yellow, like this I return inside the void to return something. I return inside that void to return something, and a void is returning something, and I click on this home, then it has to set the background color yellow. Now void function is returning. What do you say about this now? Void function is returning. What do you say about this now? What do you say? I hope you know in your parameters and all these you will learn. You know about reference and out parameters. Reference and out parameters. Have you heard about them? Reference parameters and out parameters in your programming languages. You learned about those parameters, reference and out parameters. Reference parameters, out parameters. Later in functions, we will discuss about the parameters, right? Reference and out parameters. Yeah, refer by value, right? Now, usually, do you know an out parameter? An out parameter can return a value even through a void method. Do you know that? Do you know an out parameter allows a void method to return value? Right. That means the point here is actually void is to designate that it is designed for not returning anything. but it may be implemented to return anything in future. Understood? But this time we have to configure through parameters, other type of parameters. So technically void is an operator to designate that at that particular instance don't return anything. But you can make this void to return anything. Don't think that, so for example, suppose anyone asks here, we have a function. This function is a void function. So void function. Can I use return keyword in a void function? Can I use return keyword in a void method? Can we use return keyword in a void method? Obviously, many people know this. Yes, we can use a return keyword in void method. Right? We can use a return keyword in void method. Return is just a jump statement. We can use return keyword in void method. The intention of return in a void method is to stop the compiler and not to proceed to next. Am I right? Huh? You know this, many people who know proper knowledge of programming. Right? If you don't know, I will show you when we learn here. We will discuss about that. We will see that. That is valid. We can use the return keyword. Right? Usually the point is we are designing not to return anything. But it may return a value through various implementations. So to designate that this particular operator, this particular function is not returning anything, then you can define void. Properly, we will use this void in a functions concept. So I am not giving another example for that, because after learning functions, we will see this detailedly, how it happens when we are learning about the functions. As of now, the example I given to you is this JavaScript void. So this is void. If I don't write this functionality, then it is nothing. It is not doing anything. So that means if I define that functionality, then it will return that functionality. That's how generally we manage that void. Right? So this is a basic approach of how we can configure and define. Right? So these are all the important special operators of JavaScript which are used in TypeScript. So completely you have to work with them in Angular applications later. That's the reason you need to know, right? Although they are all JavaScript operators, we discussed here also to understand, because we need to work with them. TypeScript uses all of them same as it is, right? That is what actually is special. Now, after understanding this special operator, we need to understand about statements, and we will discuss about how we can deal with object-oriented programming. Now we will start working with object-oriented programming in TypeScript. So how OOP concepts works in TypeScript, that we will see in tomorrow's session. Okay.